Live, local, late breaking. This is Newswatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:30 on August 21st. Welcome to Newswatch 12 this morning. I'm Carlos Murrieta. We first want to turn over to Storm Tracker 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress for a look at our Thursday. And Sarah, I know we're on the cooler side for now, but I know in the morning as we progress on, it's not going to last.
No, it's definitely not going to last. It is going to get hotter today. Definitely a nicer start to morning. It is going to be the best part of your day. A look across the region as well. Everywhere is looking pretty similar. We're starting with clear skies along the coast, even areas inland. Very comfortable start to your day. Right now, highs at 60 for Medford, 54 to Klamath Falls, 53 over into Montague along the coast, 55 for Brookings. So yeah, this is definitely very comfortable this morning if you are heading out to the Hawthorne Park, to the Growers Market. Very comfortable start to your morning. By the time we start to exit the morning and make our way into the afternoon, that's when it's going to start to get a bit hotter, and even into the afternoon today, it might feel a little bit more stifling under that heat. In general, we'll see blue skies across the region. We'll see warmer high temperatures, breezy winds along the coast, and late day west side breezes into our valleys. In general, not too bad, even though it does look worse than yesterday because heat only goes up from here. But our high temperatures into our west side valleys will be into the upper 90s. East side will be into the 90s, upper 80s. We'll see 90s into Northern California, mild and 70s along the coast. But yeah, the heat does crank up. We have an extreme heat warning in place for valleys over west side, and also some changes to heat advisories as of this morning. So I'll have those details for you coming up in your next forecast.
Oregon's two senators and Congresswoman Val Hoyle sat down with local health experts to discuss what they're calling an impending healthcare crisis. They held a roundtable discussion regarding President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill that makes the biggest cuts to Medicaid in U.S. history. Cameron Salinas has the reaction.
Major federal funding cuts could threaten the future of Oregon hospitals and clinics. Health experts warn losing hundreds of millions in Medicaid funds could force hospital closures and staff layoffs. This may leave rural communities with few or no options for basic care. Oregon Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, along with Congresswoman Val Hoyle, held a roundtable discussion in Eugene Wednesday with regional healthcare leaders to discuss the impact of pending federal cuts to hospitals and clinics across the state.
Taking away the hospital provider tax, 11 of our 33 rural hospitals are on the verge of closure. These are in rural and frontier areas where there aren't other options to get care.
Local health leaders say losing Medicaid funds would not only close doors, but also jeopardize hundreds of jobs.
Hospitals, as you've shared, are at a tipping point, and as year over year, we have already been experiencing losses, and they forced us to cut workforce as well as close services.
For rural Oregonians, these hospitals and clinics are lifelines. Without them, thousands could be left with nowhere to turn for essential medical care.
In each of these communities, we entered the community when the existing clinics shut down, oftentimes giving 2 weeks notice to the 4,000 people living there that their only access to health care was shutting down.
The outlook is also bleak for hospital networks like Peace Health.
We can't afford cuts to 70% of our patients. We can't afford the 340B program to take cuts. We can't afford more free care.
Leaders warn that without urgent action, access to basic health care may simply disappear. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Cameron Salinas.
We are continuing to follow the Oregon's transportation budget crisis, and ODOT has made it clear that the clock is ticking on layoffs and cutbacks. The agency faces a $354 million shortfall in its day-to-day operations budget. Without new money, ODOT says nearly 500 jobs will be cut, along with 12 maintenance yards. That would mean slower snow and ice removal, delayed repairs, and canceled maintenance projects.
A real crisis, and one we've been talking about since spring of 2020 when we first brought this forward. The reality is that ODOT essentially has two budgets, a capital construction side that is made up of federal funds that generally have to be used for construction and capital projects. Ultimately, it is controlled by state and federal law, ORS 367.095 is the state law from HB 2017 that provided just a small sliver of the funding to ODOT for maintenance.
Lawmakers are set to take up Governor Kotek's funding plan in a September special session. The governor says the goal is to keep workers on the job and maintain safe, reliable roads. But without legislative action, ODOT says those cuts will move forward. Moving on to a traffic alert. Looking ahead to the end of September, residents are being told that Highway 101 will be closed between Bandon and Port Orford for one weekend to replace a culvert under the highway. Now the work zone is located at Bearhead Mountain Lane, about 6 miles south of Bandon. There are no local road connections around the work zone, as the only available detour is a lengthy drive along Highway 199, also known as Redwood Highway, to the I-5, then Coos Bay-Roseburg Highway. The closure is set to begin at 9 p.m. on Friday, September 19th, then reopen late Sunday night on September 21st. Moving on to the fire watch. Around 2 a.m. yesterday morning, an abandoned two-story building on Truder Lane in Grants Pass was fully engulfed in flames, and an individual is now being questioned by law enforcement. Rural Metro Fire and Grants Pass Fire were able to knock down the fire before it could spread to nearby vegetation and structures. A person known to be in the area frequently was seen leaving the area and was later picked up by police. The Oregon State Fire Marshal has been notified. And the Medford Fire Department has released their emergency response summary for the month of July, and the fire department nearly saw 1,600 calls. 210 of those calls were fire-related, while 63 calls were to provide mutual aid, including the Board Shanty Fire. 645 were medical first response calls, and 506 calls were for ambulances only. Medford Fire is reminding the community to follow ODF's fire restrictions as we are still in fire season. Moving on to a consumer alert, as we're seeing temperatures rise across the country, we're also seeing coffee prices rising across the country. Newswatch 12's Danny Stepanovich shows how rising prices are impacting local businesses.
A few years ago, RCC student Sophia Turner was regularly supporting coffee shops all over the Rogue Valley. Now, she only treats herself twice a week.
It adds up so quickly that I'm like, I try to only have it be a special occasion. Sundays and Wednesdays are usually when I drink coffee out.
Her favorite Wednesday spot is Forage Coffee Company. Co-owner Jacob Tarando works 12-hour days to fight the cost of inflation and keep the price of coffee around $4 to $5 per cup.
The fastest way I can save money is by myself and my business partner working and cutting hours to employees.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, coffee prices surged 14.5% in July from a year ago. Even the threat of a tariff has caused the price of coffee to go up, according to owner of Melello Coffee Roaster, Zachary Barrer.
The more certainty that the market, the more consistent the price can be, the more we can plan. There's no certainty in whether or not there's going to be a tariff slapped on a country tomorrow, the next day, the next week. And that uncertainty has really caused a dramatic fluctuation in the market and in a not good way for the consumers.
Because of the uncertainty, coffee shops like Forage and Melello have to adjust week by week and make tough decisions, whether it's cutting hours, rising prices, or working longer shifts to survive whatever tariffs or inflation may come next. Reporting in Medford, Danny Stepanovich.
Moving on to a crime alert, the woman arrested in connection to the DUI crash that killed a chief from Ben has now pled guilty and been sentenced. In October, Jason Thomas was hit by an intoxicated driver while on a bike and was pronounced dead at the scene. Casey Cavanaro took a plea deal, which was supported by Thomas's family. Cavanaro will have her license revoked and spend 10 years in prison. She will not be eligible for a reduction to her sentence. And as we approach Labor Day, Josephine County Sheriff's Office is announcing that they're participating in a high-visibility DUII enforcement. Now, this event is through the Oregon Impact DUII grant that allows the Sheriff's Office to increase staffing for DUII-specific patrols. Be sure to arrange a designated driver or call an Uber prior to drinking, and never allow friends or family to drive intoxicated. And the Blue Heron Park is undergoing a major restoration project to connect the creek to Bear Creek. Crews are removing a 680-foot man-made pipe to restore the creek's natural flow, which aims to help salmon and restore wetlands. Travel and parking near Blue Heron is expected to be impacted throughout this project, and which will last through November. And Newswatch 12's Wake Up and Win is back. Starting on Monday, you'll have 5 chances to win 4 tickets to the Seven Feathers Fall Classic Rodeo on September 21st and 22nd. All you have to do is watch Newswatch 12 between 6:45 and 7 a.m. Spot that daily code word and enter it on our website for a chance to win. One winner will be selected each day through Friday.